A man has been charged with the murder of politician Anne Widdecombe. So let's discuss the story so far. Former Member of Parliament Anne Widdecombe was killed in an alleged targeted attack. The 78-year-old former Conservative minister who joined the Reform UK party was found dead in her home in Devon on the 8th of July. It later emerged that a suspect had been seen in CCTV footage, first obtained by The Sun, appearing to get into a car in Yorkshire with what looks like a long object protruding from his pocket, hours before it was believed Widdicombe was attacked. Devon and Cornwall police initially said that while they were keeping an open mind, there was nothing to suggest the murder was politically motivated. Counter-terrorism police said on Tuesday, based on new information, it was appropriate that we took over the investigation. So what we know so far is timeline of events for Anne Widdecombe's murder. So on Wednesday, the 8th of July, at just before 8 in the morning, CCTV footage shows a man dressed in a white shirt and shorts getting into a red vehicle outside a house in Rotherham with what looks like to be a long object protruding from his pocket. At 8:05 in the morning, Anne Widdecombe appeared on Talk TV from her home in Hayter, a village on Dartmoor, to speak about her party, Reform UK's leader, Nigel Farage. A recorder from Channel 5 reportedly speaks to Widdicombe looking to set up a video statement. Her last message, therefore, was received at 12:20 in the afternoon. At 12:30, police believe this was the time that Anne Widdecombe was attacked. Almost 20 minutes after that, a Channel 5 researcher messages Anne Widdecombe, according to ITV reports, asking her to join a Zoom link before the interview, but she does not reply. The following day, at just before 12 lunchtime, Devon and Cornwall police officers are called by the ambulance service and find Widdicombe dead in her home with serious injuries. On the Friday, at around 6:30 in the morning, that's where the announcement came about Anne Widdecombe's death. And police issue a statement in the afternoon saying that they have launched a murder investigation, and they says there is no information that this is politically motivated, and also confirms the incident is not being treated as terror-related. However, things have moved on since then, as we can see from the news today. So a 28-year-old man has been charged with the murder of Anne Widdecombe, and his name is Joshua Kerry. Joshua Kerry is from Rotherham in South Yorkshire, and he's set to appear at Westminster Magistrates Court on Tuesday, i.e. tomorrow. So counter-terrorism police said they're determining the motivation, including any political motivation, remains an active avenue of investigation. But in my theory being not proven and just what I'm thinking, is obviously Anne Widdecombe has been speaking on behalf of the Reform UK party, which have been portrayed to be far right or on the right. So a lot of people have been saying to me, such as my family and my friends, they've been telling me that this is likely to be a leftist attack on essentially a defenceless old lady. But I've seen some things on YouTube, on the telly regarding Anne Widdecombe, and in my opinion, she's very outspoken. She reminds me of one of them old ladies that you see down the post office who don't really care. They'll just speak their mind and they're not too fussed if anyone's offended. And that's what people liked about her. And I didn't really follow much of what she does. I don't really follow politics. But if she was just an old lady from my area, I think she'd be very likeable. And regardless of one's opinion on political matters, no one deserves to be attacked. But this Joshua Kerry, as it stands now, he's innocent until he is proven to be guilty. But looking at the guy, and here's an image for you again to look at, he looks like your classical leftist sympathiser at the very least. He looks like one of them sort of people who will sit in front of your car because your car burns petrol and refuses to let you drive to a hospital. That's what he looks like to me. But what's a 28-year-old wanting to do with a very old lady? There's obviously no match there. He he doesn't look like the sharpest button. He certainly doesn't look the sort of type to pick a fight with a worthy adversary. So he's quite clearly, if he has done it, like I say, he's innocent at this moment in time. He's attacked a very old and frail lady. I believe she was only about 5 foot, if that. So if he has done it, he most certainly deserves the longest sentence available to him. And if he is found guilty, and the prosecution do determine and prove that this case is politically driven, this can fall under terrorism-driven murder, a politically driven murder, of which his minimum term, if he was to get a life sentence, well, he will get a life sentence. His minimum term, the judge will more than likely increase that so the starting point will go up. So he won't get, if he does get found guilty of a terrorism and politically driven murder, he won't get much change out of a 30-year recommendation, I don't think. But I think he deserves more if he has done it, because attacking an old lady is just despicable. But rather than talking about him so much, I think we should spend the time remembering Anne Widdecombe. So Widdicombe's career in politics must have lasted a long time. I think it went as far back as like the 80s or the 70s. And she served as a Conservative MP for Maidstone for 23 years and was appointed to the ministerial roles in Sir John Major's government in the 1990s. But following her departure from the House of Commons, she appeared on, like reality TV shows like Strictly Come Dancing, Big Brother, and she further stood for as a member of the European Parliament. In 2023, she joined Reform UK as a party spokeswoman, so you can imagine that her relationship with Nigel Farage and that side of politics has spanned for quite some years. But Nigel Farage has given some kind words regarding Anne Widdecombe. He described her as a remarkable individual and the fiercest defender of free speech. And that kind of ties into my, like I said a few minutes ago, theory, as the far right, or the right, whatever you want to call them, are sort of bastions of free speech. Say what you want without consequence. And Anne Widdecombe was an ambassador of that. She said what she wanted without consequence. And those on the left, from what I read and the sort of videos that I see from public journalists and citizen journalists, whatever that genre of journalism is called, they don't like free speech so much. They like to be offended, and they almost make fashion out of being offended. It's just fashionable now, and it just really is that simple. So my theory is this guy was politically on the left, and he may have took some offence, or he had some more deeper agenda that made him decide to commit this offence if he certainly did do it. That's my view. Although not proven, it's just a theory at this point. But doesn't it bring to home how, because there's a lot in the media about how supposedly dangerous the far right are, how dangerous, the people like Tommy Robinson, them sort of spokespeople, how dangerous of an influence they have on society today. But not a lot gets mentioned about the far left, on how dangerous they can be. And if you look some months ago, that guy in America, Charlie Kirk, he got a bullet with his name on it just for speaking his mind. That's from what I said. There's certain communities, and I don't want to offend any people, there's certain communities that can be offended by things that the likes of Charlie Kirk, Anne Widdecombe, Nigel Farage, Tommy Robinson, the people can be offended by things that those people say. But in my opinion, that's okay. It's okay to be offended, because you have to risk offending people for exercising free speech. So if you're easily offended, don't listen to these things. That's what I say when I'm at work and people are constantly running the HR and saying, "No, so-and-so offended me because he or she, if you can even say those pronouns anymore, said this." I'm offended. If I was HR, I'm old school. For a 30-odd-year-old, I'm quite old school. I just say, take it outside and sort it out. Sort it out outside. Don't bother me with it. That's what I'd do if I was HR, which is probably why I've never gone down that line of work. So it all comes down to cases like this, tragic cases like poor Anne Widdecombe's death, I think do come down to far left extremism and other cases where other people have been attacked and come down to far right politics. I just think it's just such a waste of life, and it all comes down to, and it all initiates from, he or she said this. And life should mean a lot more than that. Life should mean a lot more than, or he or she said this, they must die. Absolute nonsense. Like Charlie Kirk, I don't think he deserved to die. He deserved to have his ears chewed by people who were offended by what he says, sure, because that's part of the game. You know, people are offended and you're exercising freedom of speech. They have every right to exercise their feelings and show their feelings. But people don't deserve to die based on what you say. It's insane. Absolutely insane. And it's come so quickly. I mean, I left school 16 years ago. And when I left school, people say you could say what you wanted. You could say anything you wanted on a night out or whatever. And if someone got hurt by what you said, have a little tear up. It's done. And there you go. But now people use words as weapons and people retaliate terribly to it. Like, really terribly. And people, as we can see with Anne Widdecombe, potentially, although not proven yet, Charlie Kirk, people die because of what they say. And why has it got like that? And I want to know this in the comments. Why has it got to such a level where your words can put your life at risk? Obviously, those who are in the public domain and very popular, famous, and are all over the place, they're more susceptible to attack and stuff like this because obviously they're making themselves known. But it can actually, if the left get what they want, the far left, I should say, because being on the left, being on the right, there's nothing wrong with that, but taking things to extreme, regardless of what side you're on, is wrong. It doesn't matter what side you're on. If you're taking it to the extreme, like we have been seeing in the news, that's wrong. That's wrong in my opinion. And people shouldn't die for what they say or what they believe or what they think. People shouldn't die for that. But that's my view. And I'm not easily offended. Please put your comments on the video and be respectful. Don't try and be nasty because you may have disagreed with a couple seconds of audio that I've said on here. I just want to know your opinions. Should people be made to watch what they say? And should people be made to look at people's trigger warnings? That's a new phrase I've heard. The world's changed so quickly, and it's just come to a point where words can have real consequence. You can lose your job for saying certain things, which I think's crazy. Which also makes me think that HR representatives are just robbing a living right now, you know, because all they're looking for is people to say the wrong thing. And it's just because all it is, and this is, again, my view, please let me know if you agree with it or not, it has just become fashionable to be offended. But, yeah, if you, like, I'm 6 foot odd, 19 stone. If somebody come up to me and you big giant idiot, would I be offended? Well, in theory, yes. I wouldn't do anything about it. But yeah, because you're trying to upset me, you're trying to hurt my feelings. But when people are voicing their own political views, which that's all they are, just political views. They can do nothing to influence politics in the country, really, other than voting. Why should people be dragged over the coals, lose their jobs for voicing what their political beliefs? That's their beliefs, just like religion is a belief. People shouldn't be hung, drawn and quartered for what they think, and certainly should not be attacked for it, which is what's happened to Anne Widdecombe, in my opinion. But we'll see what happens. The truth always comes out in the wash, doesn't it? But I just want you to put your thoughts in the comments, please. A few of my videos have been very engaging. Some others not so much, which is fine. But if you found this video interesting and it has triggered some form of question inside you, please get it on the comments. Be respectful, and I will respond, because I like this channel to be a place where people can safely debate in the comments to the videos that I upload. And this is what I've put this channel up for, as a platform where people, good people, educated people like yourselves, can get your comments on there and debate sensibly without worrying about, oh, this may get to my employer, this may get put on social media about me. Not about that. This is a safe platform for everyone to have sensible debate. So, like I say on all my videos, be respectful. If you want to know more, put that in the comments as well. I'll try and find that information for you. And if there's certain topics that you would like me to do a bit more research on and upload, or look at my lived experience to make a video at your request, then also put that in there, and I will do my utmost best. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. I hope this was of some interest, and hopefully we will all keep track of this case, and we'll see what happens in the end, and we'll see what answers we get. Well, yeah, thank you, and peace and love, guys.